Well, the weather pattern continues to be super active across the country. We've got heavy snow falling in the northeast. We've got heavy snow across the northern plains and even across the mountains. And then we're looking at severe weather this week. All right, let's go and start off across the northeast. We'll see that storm move out as we move through the day Sunday. So drying and improving conditions here as high pressure builds in, but deteriorating conditions across the northern plains as we watch our strong area of low pressure move into Kansas, then toward Nebraska. Out ahead of it, a lot of warm air moving north, and that warm air, I think, will impact some of the snow totals for parts of Iowa into Wisconsin, even into parts of Minnesota, the southern parts of these states. Now, I think once you get northwest of St. Cloud, we stay all snow, back towards Pierre, all the way south into parts of Nebraska, some rain, then over to snow, and it could be heavy at times. Out ahead of the system, severe weather. I think that is the main concern as we head into the day Sunday from parts of Kansas down into Oklahoma, even Texas. We could see a few strong storms with damaging winds, some hail, even a few tornadoes are possible. So let's time some of this out, at least for this system as it moves through the plains. Strong storms starting to break out as we move through the late morning into the afternoon hours here on Sunday, really into the afternoon. That will be the time where we have peak heating, and those thunderstorms will start to break out from Kansas down into Oklahoma. You can see the future radar here picking up on that across parts of Kansas and into Oklahoma, even down into Texas. But if you're here across parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, you're watching the snow, and it really starts to pick up from the late morning hours into the afternoon hours. We're snowing heavy across parts of South Dakota, even into parts of Nebraska. We see that rain change over to snow in some areas. It'll be the opposite on the east side as we get that warm southerly flow. We'll see snow change over to rain for places like Rochester, Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul. But again, back towards St. Cloud, once you get up to places like Duluth, International Falls, I think we stay mostly snow in these areas as the low moves by. Now, as we move into Monday night, into Tuesday, as this storm moves off toward the Great Lakes, again, the snow's still going back here across parts of South Dakota, northwest Minnesota. Now our severe weather threat shifts off to the south and the east. Storm Prediction Center highlighting these areas already for parts of Mississippi, East Texas, Louisiana, and even into parts of Iowa. We could see a few thunderstorms that could get a little strong heading into Monday into Tuesday. Now, the snow is still going to be heavy for places like Minneapolis, St. Paul, even further south before we change over to rain. We could see several inches, and then as that warm air moves in, things mix over and then go back to rain and then over to snow once things all said and done. But places like Fargo, a little further north towards Grand Forks, International Falls, back towards South Dakota, we're talking about Pierre, Aberdeen, north into South Dakota, places like Bismarck, Grand Forks again, Fargo, International Falls up toward northern Minnesota, Duluth. We stay all snow here. And again, I think we pick up a good 10 to maybe even 16, 17 inches. And there could be a few spots that overperform, especially as these bands of snow set up in this area heading into the day. So decent snow possible. Winter storm warnings up. Make sure you get those warnings at weather.gov. And look, we're going to see snow still going here across the Rockies from Colorado back into the Wasatch, even into the southwest. Snow for parts of Montana, more than 6 inches in some spots. So that mountain snow continues. Also for the Sierra, with this system moving through, we're going to see in places, once it's all said and done, 2 to 3 feet, maybe even more in some of the higher elevations with some strong winds too. And this storm pushes off to the east. And that severe threat, I think we'll have to watch here across the south as we move into the day Tuesday night into Wednesday. But most of the energy, though, pushing north into Canada. A lot of you will be impacted by this storm. Regardless of how you're impacted, you're going to feel the wind. You're definitely going to see some rain, and we get wet along the east coast by Wednesday, and things start to dry out some. What's interesting, though, will be this area of low pressure that's trying to develop here along the East Coast. Now, the last couple of model runs have been consistent of keeping this thing very close to the coast. A little too warm for snow, but still, that could keep us wet here as we head into Thursday and Friday. And then backing things up a little bit, here comes our next system into the Pacific Northwest, bringing more mountain snow and rain. And then by the time we get towards Saturday, another system could impact parts of California and the far southwest, just building up that snowpack, which actually is good news here, especially into the parts of Colorado, Utah, into the Colorado River Basin, which anything that falls here as far as snow goes is going to be positive for places like Lake Mead and Lake Powell. And then into next week, look, another storm possibly forming somewhere here in the central United States, meaning March continues to go out like a lion. All right, that's all I got. I'll catch you next time.